Hi everybody, good morning. Well, it might not be morning for you when you watch this, but it's morning for me. I hope everybody is having a great day whenever you might be watching this. I wanted to come on here today and do an autumn book haul video for you guys. I know I've been promising that for a long time. I dressed up a little because I have a blowout from yesterday, you know, and you want to try to make that last as long as possible. Chippy nails, but the rest was work. So, you know, you can't have everything. Okay, let's get started. I have a really good book stack for you guys today, in my personal opinion. I love autumn. It's my absolute favorite season, and I love the idea of having seasonal books on your shelves. Anytime there's a new change in what our shelves look like and something new to grab their attention, that's always a plus. And if they're educational and they're teaching about seasons, that's a double plus. You can't go wrong. Let's get started looking at these books. There's a couple of them in this stack that I've already featured on my stories previously, so you might have seen them before, but I do have some new ones in here as well. I'm going to have links for each and every book, so be sure and read the description box to use those if you do decide to purchase. But I'm sure you can also find these in the library if you're not sure you want to commit. First one, I know I have featured this on my stories before. It's called One Leaf, Two Leaves, Count With Me. I love it because it's simple, easy read. This is a great book for early readers. So my children enjoy when I read this aloud to them, but my first grader can also feel confident reading this by herself or even reading it to her sister, which we love that. It is a counting book, and although the cover and most of the pictures focus on autumn, it does actually have every season in here. So you start off by counting the leaves as they are appearing on a spring tree. You're counting up here, adding more and more leaves until you get to summer and there's tons of leaves. And then you start counting backwards as the leaves fall off of the tree for autumn. And then you get to winter when there's no leaves at all. So the illustrations are really beautiful. Like I said, it goes through all 4 seasons, which I love. Counting practice, great illustrations. You can read this all year round, but because of the cover, I love having it out for autumn, obviously. And yeah, this is a great book. We love this book. This is another counting one that I have featured on my stories. It's called Countdown to Fall. These are more realistic illustrations. And it's not really so much a story as it is just poetically describing what you might see around you in nature during autumn. So this is specific for autumn. There's no other seasons featured. It's mostly animal pictures that are realistic and plant pictures that are realistic. And oh my gosh, I love the illustrations. We love animals a lot, and so anytime we get a book with really cool animal illustrations, I'm all in. Another great thing about this book is in the back there's some fun activities for you to do together. So there's leaf identification activities and bark identification activities, and yeah, so that adds another educational aspect to it. So this one's really cool. Okay, let's see, another one that we really love. And I apologize because I took the cover jacket off of this and tossed it. So you're not really seeing what the cover will look like if you go to purchase this book online. But it's called The Scarecrow, and it normally has a picture of a scarecrow on the front. But when you take the cover jacket off, it's really cute. It actually looks like denim with these fun little patches, which I guess are supposed to be like the scarecrow's overalls. So that's cute. I actually like that, and it's a nice hardcover. It's got a nice texture to it. So the Scarecrow is Another book with really beautiful illustrations. It is mostly in autumn, but it does have a little bit of a year-round seasonal feel. So you're following a scarecrow who doesn't have any friends, and he's sad that he doesn't have any friends. The animals are scared of him. He wants to be their friend until one day he gets a little baby crow as a friend, and he actually cares for the baby crow, and they become the best of friends. It is a super sweet, heartwarming story. Really pretty illustrations. And to me, what the story's about is just like unexpected friendships and not judging people based on how they look or how they seem. And that's a great lesson for all of us. So we like this. It doesn't have any holidays in it. It's strictly about the characters, and there's a great seasonal backdrop. So love it. So another book that is very specific to autumn that we love is Goodbye Summer, Hello Autumn by Kennard Pack. He actually has a couple of these for each season. This book's great. It has really beautiful illustrations, and you're basically on a walk in this book. You are with this child. They don't mention the character's name. She's your main narrator through the story, and she's walking in her community. So she starts off at her house. She goes to the creek fishing with her dad, and they're noticing the signs of the season starting to change on their walk. Really pretty pictures. A nice, diverse group of people represented, which I love. I definitely want my kids to be consistently exposed to people who look like them and also people who don't, because I think representation is important. And especially right now, if your kids are not in school and we are limited in who we can meet with and gather with and socialize with because of the pandemic, it's nice to continue to surround them with different kinds of people through literature. So I love this book. It's really beautiful, sweet story. I plan on getting the other ones in this series, and no holidays are mentioned in this book. Okay, another book that we've really liked for autumn is Magnificent Homespun Brown, A Celebration. This book reads like poetry. It's not really a story as much as poetry, in my opinion. It is a celebration of all beautiful things that are brown, especially people. So this is featuring African American people throughout the book. Look at these illustrations. Gorgeous illustrations. It does feature different kinds of people. So we have a disabled boy here, and we have some girls who look like they might be of the Muslim faith. Have a woman who has some tattoos and kind of a different hairstyle. For me personally, I like, again, my kids seeing different types of people in a positive way, because I don't want them to be afraid of people based on how they look or judge people based on how they look. I want them to realize that we have common ground with all people, and to see the beauty in variation. And so I think that books like this are a great way to do that. There's no holidays mentioned in this book. It's just really pretty descriptions of people and activities that are all based in this colorway of brown. One more book that's very specific for seasons, but this is actually great for year-round, is the Story Orchestra, 4 Seasons in One Day. I love this book so much. Look at this cover. It has gold embossing, you guys. Look at these trees for each of the seasons. I mean, just to have this on display is already a win. It's already beautiful, but then the contents of it are so great too. So You are following a little girl named Isabel. As she wakes up, she goes on an incredible journey where she experiences all 4 seasons in one day. Now, here's the best part. This book is also an orchestra book, so it's featuring the orchestral music by Antonio Vivaldi. So all of his compositions that are inspired by each of the seasons are throughout this book, and you can actually hear them on each song. You can hear a song on each page. Okay, so like for spring, there's a button. How great is that? And so each page, each season has its own button with its own song, and it really helps bring the story to life. The illustrations are beautiful. There is a little bio in the back about Antonio Vivaldi, so this is a great book if you do musical study or composer study, or if you're doing music history. This is a great one to add. We personally got it because of the seasonal aspect, but the music is beautiful, and we are trying to add more classical music to our homeschool. So this was a really great little intro for us. Here's the bio for Antonio Vivaldi. There's a review in the back where you can actually listen to each of the songs again and discuss it. So really educational. There's a nice glossary for musical terms. No holidays mentioned, with one exception that is worth telling you guys. So on one of the spring pages, there is one line down here that mentions an Easter egg hunt. Now, that might be a deal breaker for you. That's okay. It's not a deal breaker for me, and I'll tell you why. It's one line. It's not related to the overall story at all, and it's already separated into its own paragraph. I don't know if you noticed that. So it is easy to skip over that. I literally just skip right over it when I'm reading this out loud to my girls. I don't even think they would know it was there. So it's really easy to just skip over it. It's not a part of the story whatsoever. It's one line. So to me, that's not a big deal. If that's a deal breaker for you, of course, that's your choice, but I had to mention it to you guys. I love this book. So now we're going to move on to some books that are Usborne books. All of those books were not Usborne books. I have 3 Usborne books to show you guys. These are not autumn specific books, but I feel like, first of all, we're enjoying reading them right now, so that's why I want to share them with you. And also, some of the themes in the book might be themes that people are thinking about during this time of year. So for example, Where Happiness Lives is a book that is all about being grateful for what you have. With me and my kids and our family, we try to practice thankfulness and gratitude all year round, but it is a theme that is commonly brought up this time of year in the country where we live, and so a lot of people might have it on their mind. It's something that we are constantly working on, trying to be satisfied and content with what we have, and not comparing what we have with what others have, or just wanting more for the sake of having more. That is what this book is about, which is why I love it. Not to mention, it's hardcover, great quality, and check these cutouts out. So this book is filled with beautiful illustrations and a lot of laser cutouts, which we love. So I can't decide which side to be on. I'm sorry if that's bothering you. Laser cutouts again, right here. So you can actually go inside the house. You can peek through. You're following a mouse character who loves his family and loves his cozy little cottage until he sees another house that seems a lot nicer than his house. And then he speaks to the mouse who lives there, and that mouse has spotted an even nicer house on the top of the hill. This house. There's some great interactive flaps, and they actually go to visit the owner of this mansion house. I mean, I love these illustrations. And I don't want to give away the ending, but basically these mice are not feeling very happy. They're comparing themselves with her and what she has and all the cool stuff that she has. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but the ending really made me cry. The lesson is just so beautifully done. They each have different blessings, and they each have something that they're lacking, and that's okay because they can all be thankful for what they have, and they can share what they might not have with each other. So it's a wonderful, wonderful book. We love this. Again, this is going to be a book we read year round because I think the theme and the lesson is always applicable to us. But I wanted to bring it up because I know a lot of people are thinking about giving gifts. They're thinking about gratitude. Maybe they're trying to dissuade their children from wanting all the toys and all the gifts. So this is a great book for all of those reasons. Another Usborne book that we have really been enjoying is called The Missing Bookshop. This is a picture book, but it is a thicker picture book that looks more like a chapter book. So it's a good stepping stone if for an early reader between a regular picture book and a chapter book. It's a really fun, sweet story all about a little girl who loves her local bookshop. She loves the elderly woman who owns the local bookshop. And one day she goes and the bookshop is closed and the beloved shop owner in her community is gone. And it's a little bit of a tearjerker, but I promise it has a happy ending, so don't be afraid of it. I read this out loud as one of our read alouds, and my girls loved it. And one more Usborne book. This is a hardcover picture book called Grandma's Favorite. It's not season specific, but it's just one we've been really enjoying right now. My kids have two grandmas that they love and adore, and also two great grandmas that they love and adore. So they're all about the grandmas. This book features a different grandchild and grandmother on each page. And the illustration kind of gives you clues about what their background might be, where they may live. Again, I love a diverse representation of characters in a book. So this is a great one for that. We have some different cultures represented. And it's just filled with different activities that kids may do with their grandmother based on where they live. It is just a really fun read. Both of my girls love this, but my 4-year-old especially loves this. So if you have a little one, this is a great one. They also have one for grandpas, so not to be left out. Grandpas are just as great as grandmas. But this is the one we picked out first, and we love it. And I have one more book. I want to give a caveat to this book, though. When I bought this book, I bought it off of Amazon, I think in August or September, and I paid about $23 for it, which now I realize was a steal. A week after I bought the book, the price jumped to $40. And now, because I think there are so many people who are beginning to homeschool this year, that might be a reason. There's a high demand for this book, and the last time I checked Amazon, it was $75 for this book. I am not in any way encouraging anyone to spend that much money on a book, but I want to share it with you anyway because it's a really great, beautiful book that we use every day almost in our homeschool. I think it's a great thing for homeschoolers to have, but please look for a deal because I would not ever spend that much. Like I said, I spent about $23 on it, and I think that was a good price. I maybe would have gone up to like $35. That's probably the most I would pay. So look for a good deal. I'm gonna put a link for the book, but if it's that crazy price, just ignore it, please. Okay. I think I have featured this on my stories before. Sing a Song of Seasons. I'm trying to read it backwards. A nature poem for each day of the year. And the title tells you exactly what it is. It is literally a thick, gorgeously illustrated book that has a poem for every single day of the year. So each time that you go to a new month in this book, so for example, I will show you November. There is going to be a table of contents for that month. So here's the table of contents for November. So it'll tell you all of the poems that are for the month of November, literally going by day, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and so on of November. I think it's a really beautiful book. There are some mentions of holidays. I think the first time that I showed you this, I was really excited because I hadn't seen any of those yet. And I realized that there are a couple. So they do mention Thanksgiving in here. There are 2 Thanksgiving poems. They're featured on one page they don't have any other poems on that page. So again, it's easy to skip that page, just skip those days. Don't have a poem for Halloween. They don't have an entire poem for Christmas, but there is one poem that mentions Christmas in one line, and that's all that I've seen. If you're worried about that, if you have concerns about that, DM me and I will try to show you exactly what's in here before you go out and buy it. If you want pictures of the pages, if you want to see what exactly the poems entail, let me know and I can do that for you. I think it's going to be difficult to find something like this that covers the whole year, that doesn't mention holidays at all. I would love it if I could find that. But with this book, to me, the poetry, the contents, the illustrations are so good that it's worth it for me to have this in my library and just edit what I don't want. If it's only 2 pages that we don't read out of the whole book, that's okay with me. I know not everyone's gonna feel that way, and that's fine, but that's my personal feeling on the book. I think it's gorgeous. This is what's introducing my kids to poetry. So like I said, I think it's worth it. Not $75 worth it, but just worth it to have. But yeah, I can definitely answer any more questions about this one because it is an investment, and I realize that. That is all I have for you guys. Those are my autumn faves, my autumn favorites for books that we've been reading almost every day since September, and we will keep on reading them until I switch them out for our winter books. So I hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna have links for each of these, and you can always DM me with any questions.